Hello everybody, in this video I'm going to teach you guys how to replace the battery in a Garmin StreetPilot C330 and C340 GPS units. They're similar devices, C330 and C340. The only difference between the two is the 340 has twice as much memory and it has TTS or text to speech, which is pronunciation of street names. So I'm going to teach you how to replace the battery. Let's see how we do it. First thing you need to do is remove the faceplate. Removal of the faceplate is not that hard. All you have to do is insert your fingernail underneath the Garmin logo and pull up like this, like that. So there is a little spot for your fingernail that you need to insert and pull up. That's the reason why you need to have long nails when you're fixing GPS units. As a general rule, you have to have longer nails. Even my nails are not long enough for fixing GPS units. Okay, so once you remove the front bezel, set it aside and remove 4 screws from here. 4 screws, okay? So let's get the screwdriver and get these taken out. Okay, all 4 screws are out. So now I'm going to take the screws out. 1, 2, 3, and 4. To be on the safe side, we will put the screws inside a little bin and pull this out. Once you pull this out, this will be loose, so you have to be very careful, and you have to unplug this cable. That's the speaker and battery cable, which you need to unplug. And this is the battery that we need to replace. Okay, so this is the battery that we need to replace. So pay attention. That's what we have to replace. So we're going to take the screwdriver and open these 2 screws. Okay, we took those screws out. Make sure you don't lose those screws because you'll definitely need them when you put the new battery in. So there are the 2 screws. So notice we have total of 6 screws that we had to take apart. Okay, so now what we need to do is remove the battery by, there is a sticky pad around the battery holding the battery in place. So you basically have to roll it out, like very gently. Like that, roll it out. See, this is a sticky, like double-sided sticky pad, like that, which is holding the battery. So that's what you have to kind of do, like this, like this. You have to roll it. You can't just separate it otherwise. Okay, so now this plate will automatically bend when you do that because it's very weak, this plate. So you have to kind of straighten it back. Make sure you don't put too much tension on this, because if you do, what happens is these screws will break. Inside screws will break. It has happened to me before, so I'm telling you everything from my own experience. Okay, so let's make sure they're tight. Okay, now you need to desolder these wires. Now notice from factory they made a mistake by soldering to the same place where the diaphragm cables are coming. They shouldn't have done this. They should have soldered it here and here. That's the reason for these 2 areas, so that you don't overheat the cable which comes from the diaphragm. And the same mistake happened on this speaker, if you notice. 1 second. If you notice, the wires are soldered to the wrong spot. They should have been soldered here. And here there isn't even soldering material. Like there is no solder here. it's like copper, because from factory they never use the correct spot. It's not a big deal. I mean, Garmin GPS units are very, very high quality. That's basically, I'm not criticizing Garmin on this. I'm just saying, you know, probably one employee didn't take their job very seriously. So you have to have your soldering iron heated to 700 degrees because if you make the temperature less than 700 degrees, it will not melt good enough, and if you make it very high, then you will overburn it, which is also not a good idea to do. Okay, so it will take like a minute or so for the thing to warm up. Okay, so there you go, it's all warm. Not even a minute, a few seconds. Make sure to realize that the plus is the white, the negative is the brown, and don't reverse it. On the speaker, the plus is on the right side and the brown is on the left side, the negative. Okay, so I remove that. Same thing with this speaker. I'm going to remove. This is useless, but you cannot throw this in the trash. It has to be recycled properly because it has chemical materials that are bad for the landfill. It could go to the, food chain or food circulation and whatnot. The chemicals inside the battery could be absorbed by earth and go to the plants nearby, and it's a long story. So just make sure you recycle it properly. Okay. So now we're gonna get the replacement battery. Now this battery is my replacement battery. It's not a brand new battery, but it's fully tested and it's a good battery. That's what I'm gonna use. Now, before I put the replacement battery, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some solder and fix the problem here on the speakers where they put the wires on the wrong spot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put the solder in the right spot, which is here and here. There was no solder there before, so that's what I'm gonna do. There, I put solder there, and I'm gonna put some solder here. Same thing with the other speaker. I'm gonna put the solder in the right spot. See, the reason they do it like this, because this is where you put your wires, where it goes to speaker, and this is where the wires from diaphragm comes. You know, the movement that happens on the speaker, and there's this cable that's it doesn't break. It has flexibility from the diaphragm comes to the terminal. That's where these go. So that's why it's not a good idea to solder it there, because you could damage the other wire. All right. So now the speaker cable comes out this way. The speaker and battery cable. So obviously you need the longer wire, speaker wires, to go to the left speaker, and the shorter ones to the right speaker, to this one. Okay, so let's do that. I'm gonna put the shorter ones first. As I said, the white wire to the right. Okay, and the brown wire goes to the negative terminal or the left. Okay, same thing here. We're gonna put the brown wire to the left, and the positive one, which is the white one, to the right. Normally the color coding for plus and minus or positive and negative is red and black, but in this case they used white and brown. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we are going to put this back in place. Make sure these are hot so you don't burn your hand, because we just soldered these and they're very hot. So we'll put this back in place. Now, sometimes when you close this GPS battery holder, sometimes this metallic plate will not reach all the way because it was bent when we opened it. So that's why you have to kind of push it harder in order for it to reach. It doesn't reach easily. Okay, that was a really hard to reach one. Now we will need screwdriver to put this back. Now this cable originally goes inside through this channel right there. Okay, let's see what we can do here. We grab the screw. Make sure this your screwdriver is magnetized, otherwise you will have a hard time. Okay, now we want the second screw. Again, make sure they're magnetized. Okay, the first screw came off, so I have to do it again. Okay, so you have to be careful with the screw. Okay, so it's all set. Now, when you put this back in, sometimes this vibrates and makes the noise, so I usually put some tape here so this doesn't move. And I'm gonna plug in my cable back in place. And there you go. Let's turn it on. The battery was fully charged, so it's up and running, working. I'll put these screws back in. And there you go. Fully charged. Okay, close the screws. Make sure you put this in like 1 or 2, because it's gonna strip the screws. It's too much force. You cannot have too much force. Okay, so we snap this one back in. As simple as that. And we have a working GPS unit. Okay, I hope you like this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.